And we'll get into it. This is a third round winners bracket game. Enarion versus Crucifer, both 2-0 from yesterday. Looks like Crucifer's setting up on defense. So in a turn and a half, it will be 1-0. Actually, let's have one last look at the previous results. I'm not showing it to you guys. There we go. Previous results. How did Crucifer get here? He beat Johnny 2-1 against Brett, and then he beat Eliod's Undead 2-0. Enarion 2-1 against Humans, and 3-1 against the Ogres. So relatively low scoring games for Enarion, right? He's known for scoring more than 2 or 3 times in a typical game. But yeah, it looks like he's setting up to go quickly up the right side. But, not a big surprise. I don't think Crucifer will mind that too much. He'll want as many turns as possible. We saw it yesterday. Khemri have a tough time scoring quickly, especially with the way his team is built. He has his sweltering heat to deal with in the future. That is more likely to be a problem for the Wood Elves, just because they have exactly 11 players, and Crucifer can afford to lose 1 or 2. He can't really afford to lose his thrower off because he has exactly 1 guy who can handle the ball. You certainly won't want to lose either Blitz or either. Tomb Guardians, you lose 1 or 2 of those. Maybe Crucifer can't afford to lose anything either. Who knows? He'll certainly be hoping that he doesn't lose anybody, right? Enarion is losing the game of roll some good dice. His very first block was a double skull, and then a full turnover on his 3. So pretty awful to start. 9 into well, that's 181. I mean, the guy's got blocks, so that's fine. And into dice turnover with 3. So that means probably not going to score in 2 turns. It probably also means he's chuckling like a fucking madman right now. We're probably just gonna, let's see, face a bunch of people. He's got a palm blitz. Actually, since there's nobody to claw, it seems more likely that you just want to use the guy with piling on. And the only potential clawable thing is the tree, and he's stunned himself, so he's not doing much. Or no, he didn't stun himself. Hard to tell with trees where the little animations are over their heads or somebody else's, because trees are just big and annoying. It's true the tree does have claw. It's going to be a few turns before he can stand up and blitz somebody. That's why I was thinking earlier, maybe you don't even need claw with woodies, or if you do, you put it on a dancer or something. The claw tree is going to have a lot of trouble hitting people he wants to hit. Of course, right now, he's going to use all his movement to stand up next turn, if he even does it. But even if you assume he's standing, he has not a lot of mobility. Crucifer unable to really do anything with his turn except base everybody. The tree has taken root on the ground, and well, at least he stood up. So we might get a chance to claw a skeleton, which is not very inspiring, but other than that, the rest of these guys are just going to leave, and he's stuck. Enarion just threw past nobody. Don't know what that idea that was. Is he trying to get it to one of the catchers, maybe, and so he can try and protect himself a little bit? But really, I think the thing to do with the thrower is just keep him in the backfield here for another turn. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to just throw the ball to anybody up here. You're not in any danger if you're just holding the ball in a square like this. You can always just run around anyone who comes forward and worry about it later. Now the ball's on the ground and marked by a Tomb Guardian, and your tree is stuck. And Wood Elves are now down to 9 players. So rough start. Bad dice on turn 1, and some weird decisions, and now he's just getting pushed around. There's still Wood Elves. They can recover from stuff like this better than anybody else can, but this is not the position you want it to be in. Crucifer has to decide whether he wants to try and commit his ball pickup man, try and come down and pick the ball up. He can't quite reach it from where he is now, or just leave him in the backfield. Somebody's got to play sweeper, but you're probably not picking the ball up on a random skeleton. You might try. For now, I think he's content to just leave the ball on the ground, double marked. With a couple of GFIs, we now have 3 players marking the ball. Enarion may be tempted to try some kind of dodging around and blitzing to push one of these guys onto the ball and hope for good luck. And Cruz is going to end his turn dodging away from the claw tree, which is perfectly sensible. So Enarion will probably want to use the thrower to pick the ball up if he could. Can one of these guys dodge 1, 2, 3, 4, dodge 6, 7, 8, push GFI to scatter it? Or he is going to do the scatter with the thrower. Okay, that's reasonably good. And now you just have a 3+ pickup with a War Dancer, and then he runs away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's more likely that he might try some extra dodges. 1, 2, 3, 4, dodge. 6, 7, 8. Try and get over to here. If you're in this area, there aren't too many people that can reach you. And that's exactly what he's doing. Just dodge right through here, and he's got the ball, and it's looks pretty safe. This guy can't quite reach. We did see Crucifer blitz with him before, but you probably don't want to be blitzing the ball with this guy unless you have no other choices, because he's the guy you want to recover with. This is just a lineman, but he's still a scoring threat. Enarion does like scoring. If you leave it wide open, I think he'd be happy to run up here somewhere with his War Dancer and throw a pass to this guy. Even if he doesn't score immediately, he can get well out of range. So Crucifer is going to have to do something about this scoring threat. Usually I don't like to worry too much about it, but in this matchup, you can't afford to ignore that guy. So probably at least the thrower has to admit that he's not getting anything done over here and come back. You may not want to blitz him just because you'd rather hit somebody with your palm fellow. It looks like he's setting up guard to come do something like blitz this guy. It'll be 3 dice. GFI to do it, but GFI to 3 dice, palm somebody. He may come back this way. 4, 5, 6, and then GFI a 3 dice. Oh, no, that's not 3 dice because he's only alignment. But knocking him down eliminates any threat of what else trying to speed past you and run away. And now he's just gone. So Enarion has recovered from throwing the ball on the ground, but he is now deep in his own half, not very safe. And he's 3 men down. It makes sense, it's just not fair. So it looks like he's going to try and run around and probably just hang on to the ball on this guy. Put him over here, maybe down here somewhere. I don't know. Alternately, puts him here and then hands off to the other War Dancer. Yeah, that looks like the plan. I mean, we're not really safe here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can double GFI and hit this guy. Can you do it from here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter. All right, so he's made the dodge, and that cuts that off. Made this dodge. That side's cut off, and reasonably safe. Problem with khemri, even the thinnest of screens completely shuts you off. This is only alignment, and it's alignment with wrestle, so he's out of scoring range. Correct? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's 1 square too short to score. So he's not an immediate threat. You could concentrate maybe hitting this guy instead. Didn't even need to pile on a last turn, so his Blitz Raw has a wide range of available moves. And you might set up a 3 dice with Palmer on this guy. Wood Elf Catchers, pretty scary as always. Wood Elf War Dancers, marking them isn't going to really do a lot. Crucifer has no tackle on his team, and Enarion has no problem making all sorts of dodges anywhere he wants to go. Crucifer is just going to get back as far as he can. Still kind of hard to say how the game's going, right? Because if Enarion can score, that puts him at a large advantage, because I think he would have liked to score a little earlier, just knowing Enarion, but knowing Crucifer, he's not going to want to have Enarion spend 6 turns trying to score, and then he would have to counter really quickly with khemri, and he's not equipped for that. So I think Crucifer would have liked it a little better if Enarion's going to score if he had done it already. Anyway, he is indeed 3 dice palm blitzing the bigger threat. Might even greed that. Chooses not to. Push means he can shift a little bit more into the side here. Not easy to get through here. Enarion instantly dodging away to just blitz this guy. I guess that means playing to change sides. You can get all the way down here, well out of range of these Tomb Guardians, who are all off to the side now. Doesn't really have a choice. There's no reasonable way here. He could have arranged 2 dice on this fellow, get him out of the way, but then there's the next layer of fences that you have to try to dodge through, and it doesn't get you anywhere. Maybe it's different if we're farther down and this fellow is actually in scoring range, but he's not right now. He may end his turn. Well, he'll probably dodge this way, but he might try and swing up the middle, get a little farther forward, so he is an actual scoring threat. The catcher needs another GFI. Does he? No, he doesn't. He's already in scoring range. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 3. What you missed here, Enarion started off a little shaky, but has got the ball back in his control and has been maneuvering side to side, and it's working. Right, Crucifer is a little bit too far off to the left now. Won't be able to get back in time. Enarion's probably scoring on either, maybe one of these guys next turn. This fellow still didn't get in the scoring range, but this guy obviously is, and this catcher actually is as well. So looks like, unless Crucifer can do something really cool, Enarion's going to score, and Crucifer isn't really going to have enough time to mount a effective counter. Sweltering Heat, of course, hasn't done anything yet. We just changed to that at the beginning of the game, and of course, we're still in the first drive. Enarion has lost a couple of players. He has 2 guys KO'd. They're definitely coming back because they're immune to heat, and 1 player injured. So he's playing with 8 against 11 right now. That's, as a Wood Elf coach, I don't think he's too phased by that. Two, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. All right, there's a bit of a screen. I don't think Enarion will be too worried that this guy's based. So I think what happens is we get like a dodge here to here. This guy blitzes skeleton out of the way, and then Ball Carrier runs right up here, tries to hand off to him, who dodges in and scores. Just a couple of 2s and 3s. Enarion will definitely want to score as soon as he can, not just because he's Enarion, but he's got 3 men KO'd, and he needs to start getting some of them back. His tree is stuck, and plan A for when your tree is rooted is to just score and get him back. All right, he's using this guy for an assist instead because he has the dodge skill. Forgot about him way in the backfield. Turns out he can reach, but everything else is happening all according to plan. Right, you need to move somewhere to get out of the way. Fine, and you'll come over here, hand off in the tackle zone and dodge. So it's 3 plus 2 plus, and he scores. There's really nothing else. Done. Oh, I guess he is. He's gonna try and protect the ball for another turn. It's cost him a reroll, but he did knock this guy down. And now I guess all he needs to do is make a dodge to here or here with this player, and he's got a nice screen again. What a noob. Screen is fine. Everybody on the Wood Elf team has made it far enough forward that his only palm blitz is either on the tree, which is silly, or double GFI to hit this catcher. I really expected him to score there. This isn't, well, I mean, it's technically a cage. The actual ball carrier is not where you would expect to see him in a cage, but with the sideline over here, you still can't get to him. And that's really the whole concept of cage, is that your ball guy can't get ball guide. That feels like a block that he could have made 3 dice. And he did. Sorry, it's a catcher. It's automatically 3 dice. I'm just confused. It's early in the morning. I apologize. I'm doing my best here. Crucifer's brought a bunch of guys back. I don't know how hard it'll be for Enarion to just go straight through this. He's got You've got a block on this guy pretty easily. Maybe what you do is you take the other War Dancer, you put him here, or one of these guys. The War Dancer is kind of in the way. So he's just going to blitz this guy straight through and then maybe dodge or even leap. Remember, the guy with the ball is leap very long legs. And oh my goodness, that's a regen failure on Crucifer's only ball carrier. So the game just swung really hard towards the Wood Elves. Crucifer's in a lot of trouble because going forward, he has no player who can handle the ball. And yeah, very long legs is actually what made that succeed. So I guess Enarion's just a genius. And Crucifer is fucked. I'm gonna go get another cup of coffee while you let that sink in. All right, how has Sweltering Heat gone? Well, Crucifer is without his best remaining player, but fortunately, it's only for a couple of turns. Enarion has lost nobody, but both of these guys have not come back from chaos. So we're still looking at 11 against 8, but that doesn't really matter too much. Crucifer has to score in 2 turns with nothing but unskilled skeletons against against a War Dancer with leap and strip ball and very long legs. Crucifer does not have another throw raw. So that was really the one weakness of the team is yeah, if a random War Dancer comes over and blitzes your ball carrier and he gets killed and doesn't regenerate, then you just lose. So there's just that one ball carrier. There is no tackle as well. His 2 blitz raws, one has a claw, a mighty blow. The other is palm. Tree got knocked over, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. Crucifer is just playing for 2 turns of a combination of damage and hope for you don't get a riot, and Enarion has enough time to score again. Yeah, you carry on a normal skeleton, and if you're careful and lucky, Crucifer has enough guard that he should be able to keep just the ball in a normal cage. So it's always going to be uphill, but a very long leg leap means 2+ into that cage, and strip ball against no sure hands means you're going to knock it out most of the time. So Crucifer is going to have a really unpleasant second half. There's still a chance that maybe this guy gets sweltering heated and doesn't play the second half. So that's one thing for Crucifer to hope for. He needs a really strong, one-sided, unfair weather result. But if with normal dice on the sweltering heat, Crucifer is almost it's almost going to be impossible for him to score against the Wood Elves. And KOing people helps a little bit. That's all I've got, really. The other thing that could happen is all 4 of these guys don't wake up, and the Wood Elves have to play with like 4 or 5 men. They might have some trouble. And of course, you can still get a miracle, and this guy could score a touchdown. It doesn't seem likely at this point. I guess, what are you picking up with that guy? No, you're not picking them all up. Oh, he's got a skeleton in the background. His movement 5 skeleton will go 1, 2, 3 to pick it up. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he's got to make GFIs just to make a short pass. He also can't protect the ball because there's nobody left around to do that. And a War Dancer who probably just dodge through, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit him. There are 2 scoring threats. They're skeletons, but it looks like he's just going to go after the ball instead, which is totally reasonable, and it worked. All right, pick it up on the launcher. Nope, you don't. All right, so he's got enough people free that he can come back and 3 dice the War Dancer with one of these Tomb Guardians. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, you can get to here. This guy can come 1, 2, 3 and hit him, and this guy has to pick the ball up. So it's not such a huge deal, or he's not even going to try. Maybe he's got different plans. He's GFIing over here. I guess he's just going for damage. But he still got it, right? This guy. Well. Hello there, Mr. Bleeding Hippie. Thank you for following along. Things have gone really strongly south for Crucifer. His only ball carrier, if you're now tuning in, is injured and out for the game. Did not regenerate. Is just fucked. Having 6 players with Mighty Blow is starting to pay off, though, as Crucifer is removing a lot of Wood Elves. Enarion has no Apo and only 11 men, so he's a little vulnerable. That, and we also have Sweltering Heat. We'll see if that decides the game, as it often does. Nice KO on the foul. But he's sent off, which means he won't have a chance to try a miracle pickup and pass. Which, to be fair, probably wasn't going to work anyway. All right, so it's halftime. Enarion has nobody out with Sweltering Heat and only 3 KOs. He's down a reroll because his leader is KO'd. One of his catchers is out and just a random lineman, and then, of course, another random lineman hurt. So he's got 7 players, but all the important ones. Crucifer hit kind of hard by the heat. He lost a skeleton and one of his Tomb Guardians. Another player sent off, and then again, there's his ball carrier. So he started at 13. He'll be down to 9 and will only have a 2-player advantage. The numbers probably not too important because there are still War Dancers in pitch. And frankly, if Crucifer still has both of these guys, especially this fellow, there's really no protecting the ball from this guy. No, he only had 1 throw raw. All right, weather change. Who does that favor? Probably Enarion, because if some sort of miraculous thing happens and Crucifer does manage to score here, then Enarion is not going to lose one of his key players to Sweltering Heat. Kick right on the sideline. Very scary when your agility too. It means also it's far enough away. He can't even try to pick the ball up this turn. Crucifer is going to have to move pretty much everybody in this direction. Enarion will be putting pressure on very shortly. We saw that neither Tomb Guardian was able to knock down the guy he blocked, but it was all set up so we could follow both and get 2 guard assists on the tree, which meant 2 dice on that fellow and knock him down. And you got to keep trying for more casualties. So let's keep trying and let's get him. There goes another catcher. Enarion has 3 catchers on his team, so he still has 1 remaining. It's just this guy here with block. And he's down to 6 players. Which sounds sad, but I think it's still more than enough. He's got both board answers. He's got a catcher. His tree is tying up all 3 Tomb Guardians right now. And it's going to be a fight between these 5 guys and whatever would else manage to make it over here, which is probably going to be just about all of them. This guy will come downfield, maybe. No, he's just going to stay here and tie up the Blitz Raw. Or maybe he's not going to do anything. Scatter the ball, hope for a good throw in. That is not really what the Wood Elves are hoping for. I mean, it would have been ideal if it ended up here somewhere. You just pick it up on a War Dancer. As it is, well, it's still pretty good. It's just going to be a little slower. Maybe Very Long Legs Man will just come through and go over some people and try and pick it up. Who knows? Yeah, he'll just pick it up on War Dancer. And try to punt, which I don't think is necessary, but Enarion wanted to do it, so we did. And now the ball's on the ground, which is much better for the khemri than if it had just been in the hands of a blodger. Remember, khemri, no tackle. He does have this claw guy in range, so he can 2 dice this fellow pretty easily, but 2 dice with blodge, 50-50. Reroll it. Sure, I guess it's ideal if the ball's on the ground, like here or here, or somewhere around there, but I'd rather have it in the hands of the War Dancer, really. Yeah, that is a shame. Enarion threw a pass in the first half, and it landed in the middle of nowhere. We're not even really clear who he was trying to throw it to. I mean, it was on his offense. It was obviously not a punt. But I don't know what his plan was or who he was aiming at. But it's just Cyanide being shitty at their job. Another consequence of the punt. Well. 4 plus pickup. 5 plus pickup. Works out fine. It's 4 plus. Right. I'm probably not going to hang on to the ball for very long. Again, this guy can just dodge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Might even just 1 dice in there. It's not hard for him to take this fellow around to be an assist and get 2 dice in the ball with strip. You may have an extra guy. May want to keep this guy as a likely scoring threat. If not, I guess one of these guys will have to do it. Since this guy's blitzing from this direction, it's likely to scatter. Well, from the square, it may end up here somewhere, so these guys will want to pick it up. Catcher will do something absurd, dodge through some tackle zones, get in the end zone, and they'll throw it to him. They score, and oh, that doesn't do it. That does. Good enough. Well, that's an acceptable scatter, I suppose, for the khemri. It's in 2 tackle zones. He does have a chance to block this guy and knock him out of the way, but he's running out of elves. So he may scatter it again. And he's just pushing, thinking that now this guy could dodge through and try and snatch the ball. Unfortunately, he chuckled it. And that gives Crucifer time to bring more people into this big mess of shittiness. It's still fine. Every turn that ticks away is one less that the movement 5 random unskilled skeletons need to be marching down the field. Sure, at this point, if Enarion scores again, it's just over, but at any point, the ball could scatter somewhere miserable for khemri, and then the game just ends. And still trying to hurt guys. You might as well. I mean, there's still, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 elves in the game. The tree is a long ways from doing anything. And one good turn right now where you injure 4 elves would get Crucifer open again. Picking up the ball is not easy. Losing the ball is easy. What's Enarion got this time around? There are enough people in the way. Let's see. If you stood up, this is 1 dice to push you out of the way. This guy could eschew dodging and just leap up here somewhere and then run around and hit him. It's more likely that he'll try something like a 3+2+ dodge up here to come around and then blitz this guy from here. Don't even need to do anything other blocking, right? It's just right now, if you hit him from this square, which, okay, he's going to do it that way, but he is hitting from that square. It's enough to strip ball again. No easy way to pick it up from here. Maybe you don't try. Maybe you just, again, stand this guy up. You take a block or two because you can. This guy might dodge, come around here somewhere. Might even just hang out back here. Because killing time is kind of enough right now. You're going to have a strip ball every single turn, and it's always going to work. And I don't know what else you can do, really. And yeah, that's all he's done. He's got 4 elves to play with, but they're just killing time, and that's fine. If lightning struck the stadium and all 4 of these elves just fell over dead, right now, Crucifer would still struggle to score. I'd probably have enough time to do it at this point, but it's starting to get tight. And again, Crucifer's had to burn 2 rerolls, picking the ball up. That's the sort of thing that could tell later on. Maybe it's almost time for a desperation play, right? Blitz this guy out of the way, use him to pick the ball up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Throw a long pass to this guy. Well, he's already moved. He had to stand up because he was palming last turn. But try and get the ball out of range. Well, you really can't. If this guy could still move, you might try it, because then he could run up this way and get out of range of the War Dancer. But right now, this War Dancer is just dominating the whole field. Gonna get 3 dice though. Maybe you'll kill him, and that would certainly change things. An armor break here is going to be big. An injury, sure, we'll take that, I guess. That ends all strip ball leap threats. The question now is, does Crucifer have enough time to pick the ball up, get it forward, and score? If he does, it's suddenly starting to look pretty good for him in overtime. Well, the game's turned interesting again. All right, he's got it on Blitzra, who is movement 6, so he's three turns away from scoring, and he's got 4 turns to go. So Enarion needs a little more time taken off. 4 of his 11 players are injured, 3 more KO'd. It means all he's got is 3 elves, a tree, and a dream. One of his KO's players is the leader. Enarion might get a reroll back if this guy gets back onto the field, because he hasn't given him the leader reroll yet this half. So that's something to maybe hope for. And yes, Crucifer had 3 rerolls and used all 3 of them trying to pick the ball up after getting stripped. Enarion probably having some connection issues. So, nope. He just used 57 seconds thinking about his plan. And his plan was to do some GFIs to blitz with his tree. All that to base the ball. But he's based the ball with a strength 6 stand firm guard. So not as bad as it could have been. Guy will dodge, come back, and somehow he just managed to get it all done. All right, you're gonna have some 2 dice blocks, but they're blocks without block and potentially catastrophe. Pushes are not good enough either. Again, stand firm, and you're not reasonably just dodging away and running off like that. So not a bad plan for Enarion here. Crucifer's got to come up with something. And probably it's just take some 2 dice blocks and hope to pow a tree. We joke about it. Haha, we based the ball, it came over. But in this case, basing the ball here is a real serious problem for the khemri. I don't like bringing this guy back. I'd rather have him alone as a potential scoring threat, because you might need him. This catcher doesn't care that he's based. He's got dodge and will go anywhere on the field. Oh, okay. So he's just blitzed with his ball carrier. That's an all-in play, and it worked. So there goes your tree, and ball no longer based. It's true. Yeah, he has block, so it's not a 1 in 9. But if you roll pushes, then you're fucked. You don't get a second try because you've already used your blitz action on this guy, and then he has to stay where he is. And if you do that, well, then you can still hit with the Tomb Guardians afterwards, but the ball is still stuck back here. One dice to pow him, and dodge right through, and get one dice on the ball. Not with strip. Crucifer now is, well, he's got plenty of time. He's going to need all 3 of his turns, unless he wants to do some GFIs. But he doesn't really have to get too much farther forward. Enarion choosing not to base with the War Dancer. So one of these guys is probably going to get 3 dice. Sandwiching this guy by bringing a skeleton here and another skeleton here, or this guy. It doesn't really slow him down much, but it stops him. I mean, it forces him to roll a couple of dice, so there isn't really much else you can do with him. I think I might have used the Blitz Rod to just 3 dice this guy. Right, all you have to do is bring a couple of assists in, and you only need to get the strength 5 because he's a catcher, and then you can palm him. Is Crucifer planning to run up in this direction? Maybe. That means completely abandoning your Tomb Guardians because they can't catch up. You may also be looking at a GFI here to get over. No, he's going to stay in here. Well, he's perfectly in range of scoring. And he's going to 3 dice the War Dancer. And get him. Another armor break here. No, but you may foul this guy. Right? He's got a spare skeleton who can come up here and foul him. He's got a couple of assists. It's only armor 7. That's a pretty high value target if you can get him. An armor break is probably enough. And the KO is excellent. So Enarion is down to exactly 2 players on the field. That may not be enough. One player on the field. What just happened there? Did he misclick? Oh no, it was an uphill block, that's right. We tried to uphill Tomb Guardian to get him out of the way so the catcher could have dodged through. So it looks like the Khemri are going to score, and we've seen Enarion do some absurd 1-turns before. He's going to need some of his KOs to wake up. He's going to need that. But if not, overtime is still anyone's game. Crucifer will be trying to pick the ball up with random agility 2 men with no rerolls, and Enarion won't be able to strip. So it's still just a big game of dice. And either side could win this. Enarion is 1 player. He's stunned. It's a pretty quick turn. And don't go away, folks, because it's still in the balance. Enarion's going to get 2 KO rolls. What was that? 3 out of 5. Not too bad. He does have 5 players injured, so 6, 7. He's only got 4 men on the field. Not an easy 1-turn. But he did get a reroll back because his leader woke up. So that's nice. Very little to do here. Maybe just pass the turn and do nothing. Alternatively, you can set up to put your fourth guy over here somewhere. You've got a catcher on the line of scrimmage. Just a 1 in 36 dodge. Just come over here and then blitz a guy. You might try that. And you never know. I mean, you could also get a riot as well. Yeah, so there's really nothing to do. Again, he may try and dodge to here and then blitz this guy. I don't know. And he's going to pick the ball up and throw a vanity pass as he can. And let's see what we get on overtime. The tree is awake, so that's a thing. Big strong claw man, but the other guy did not wake up. So Enarion will have 5 players, and he's going to be on defense. Crucifer, meanwhile, is playing with 4, 6, 8, 10. Again, no rerolls, no ball carrier. So a couple of bad rolls here, and the Wood Elves could take full advantage. But I don't even know. I don't even know who I'd rather be here. I'd probably rather be the khemri, I guess. But 1 or 2 bad rolls means what else can steal this. And if anybody can find a way to steal this from this position as Wood Elves, it's got to be Enarion. I think Crucifer is praying for a touchback, if nothing else. He's using his clawman to carry the ball because really there's nobody to claw. We don't really care too much about the tree. And at least he's got block, so that's something. And keeping a lot of guys back because you're going to need to cover the ball wherever it ends up. Oh, and it's a blitz and a short kick. So Enarion can just go catch the kick if he wants. And I don't see why he wouldn't want that. Now, obviously, he can't protect it, but he is going to catch it on a catcher who's only strength 2. Probably going to get 3 dice. There are enough people free. 1, 2. You could just GFI straight away. Nope, this guy's going to block it. But this guy can come and hit the ball right away. Got a couple of other people around to assist. Maybe you could actually put up 3 of them. I don't think you're going to do that. This guy could actually go 1, 2, 3, 4, GFI to here or to here if he wanted. But we'll see. Anyway, this guy is in scoring range, so Enarion could score on his first turn of overtime on defense. If Crucifer is unable to knock the ball free. And even if he does knock the ball free, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The War Dancer is also a scoring threat. So I guess you're blitzing with the Palm Man from this direction. Push them here. Hope the ball ends up far away from the War Dancer after you knock him down. And assuming that the War Dancer is going to have the ball and you can just trying to screen him off a little bit so he doesn't have an easy score. Another injury. Sure, every little bit helps. You still got to get the ball first, but once you've done that, the fact that there are a few elves, very nice. 3 dice, got him. Guess you're pushing him here. You want the ball. You don't really want the ball on the ground. You want one of these skeletons to just catch it. But as long as it's here, that means the War Dancer really has no good way to get to it. And next turn you're going to have a scary pickup on the sideline with an agility 2-man with no reroll. But the 2 KOs, well, 1 injury and a KO means that plus that stun means the War Dancer is the only guy on the field who could move. And he just stunned himself. So you pick the ball up, you're in great shape. You don't pick the ball up, you're still in good shape. Yeah, the game has turned a couple of times. And right now you got to think looks pretty solid for the Wood Elves to lose. They've run out of guys, and ball is going to be pretty safe. Tree Man can't really do much. Player is stunned, so all you have is just 1 unskilled lineman who can't do much. Him over, you can use these guys to help. You can bring them farther over here. You just leave them as assists, foul this guy, and then there's really nobody who can do anything. I didn't get him, but I think Crucifer will be feeling relatively confident anyway. Take root doesn't matter. Stand-up failure kind of does, because it leaves these guys free, and there's nothing left to do. But try and roll a bunch of dice, and it did not work. So an up and down battle, but it in the end, it looks like things have swung in the khemri direction, and Crucifer is going to be moving on in the winner's bracket. Enarion is still alive, of course. He'll have to play another game now. But he'll drop to the lower bracket, which we'll take a look at as soon as this game's over. Enarion, never say die, gonna keep doing things, but he doesn't have the movement to stop this guy from scoring next turn. So that's gonna be it. Commiserations to Enarion, a tough one. But in the end, just a few too many casualties to overcome. And Crucifer somehow managing to score and win 2 touchdowns despite not having a ball carrier. Yeah, a very, very, very Chuckles kind of game. And a pretty good one, and I'm glad you're all here to enjoy it with me.